Extreme E.
Let's go.
An all-electric racing series built to drive environmental and cultural change.
Here we are, really showcasing what we are doing for the environment.
We are more than just a race series. It's really leaving a positive trace behind.
A sporting competition, but also an opportunity.
It's one of the few sports where men and women can compete on equal terms.
It's just amazing to give people who don't really have the opportunity an opportunity to get involved in motorsport.
A chance to inspire humanity to change their ways and to reverse the habits of the past for a brighter tomorrow.
As a sport, we have to do more to integrate.
It's about promoting a real action-based opportunity to get more diversity into our paddock.
If we collectively come together and make small changes, we can have a huge impact for future generations.
Sport must do its part to set a path to follow and be the example for others. And the time for change is now.
If motorsport is your passion, I think this is the #1 place to go.
Prepare to be aggressive.
Hyperdrive now.
After 2 years of electric racing in some of the most remote locations on the planet, Extreme E is entering its 3rd year.
Season 3, we're going bigger, better, more extreme. Any new sport needs to develop, and we've discussed it with drivers and teams, and we feel the best thing to do is actually to go to multi-car racing across the whole weekend. So you'll see side-by-side racing right from that Saturday morning first race.
Each X-Prix will now be a double header, meaning the season will be made up of a total of 10 races rather than 5. Single car qualifying has been scrapped in favour of more wheel-to-wheel action. The revamped format promises to deliver the most intense championship fight ever.
Everybody loves to see action on track, and we love to fight each other out on course. So I really look forward to season 3, a new challenge for everyone, a bit of a change in the championship.
You know, when you have 5 cars to start, it's a special feeling you get, and you're really hungry for the win. I'm really looking forward to it.
It is not just the racing format that has been overhauled for season 3. The cars have also received big upgrades ahead of the first race.
We've made some huge improvements working with our advisors. Underneath, there'll be a new approach angle for the car, so when you see it land off those big jumps, it won't nosedive as much, it'll actually land as we want it to. We're incredibly proud at Extreme E that we have the world's top off-road racing drivers. We've had 4 or 5 different driver changes, and if those guys put in a good performance, I think they're here to stay.
I think with season 3, people can expect another thrilling season. Probably even better than the second and much better than the first, where drivers are really now at the top of the knowledge of the cars. We will be increasing power on these cars. We will be learning also lessons from the tracks. You know, the interesting thing about Extreme E is how we've been evolving locations. We go back to some great places like Saudi, like Chile, where we've been, and then we try a couple of new locations.
Scotland will be new for me. It would be nice to race in my hometown a little bit.
I think it's amazing, you know, to keep racing for a purpose. It's cool to see some new locations, you know, adding to the calendar.
We're going to shorter tracks at the moment, preferring to have 2 laps instead of a long loop. My target is to find tracks and to create tracks with even more challenges inside the lap, so you can stand out as a driver. When you leave a race location, it's not like a proper and consistent racetrack. So we're facing all the time new challenges, even though it's the same location. And I can promise you, wherever we go, it will be different.
Of course, for Extreme E, our message on sustainability will become ever more important. And all those locations have important messages that we can send to the world.
One of the teams which have been involved in Extreme E since the very first race is Veloce Racing. Developed as an esports company, this racing team is the first of its kind in the industry.
Veloce started back end of 2017, beginning of 2018. Formula One had just gone under a change of ownership, renewed focus on digital audiences and a younger demographic. And we saw a Formula One esports event, all these young drivers taking part from all around the world, qualified through the internet, and we looked at who signed them, who had the rights to them, who was representing these drivers, and the answer was nobody. So we got underway with signing all of these talents, and it was a great business, but we couldn't scale it. Fast forward to who and what we are now. Extreme E first came onto our radar actually through being involved in the sport. Jean-Eric Verne is a good mate of mine. We were teammates in Formula 3. We actually were flatmates for a while, and he's a shareholder in the business. We were sat in Monza together with Dan at the Formula 1 Grand Prix, and I think that week Extreme E had been announced. We loved the project. We loved what it stood for, all of its core values. I mean, it's Planet Earth meets America's Cup meets, I mean, it's nothing like this has ever been done before. So we were like, we've got to do this. We've got to find a way to do it, and we did.
It was straight away something that I wanted to be a part of. Very quickly I realized that I could not be a driver because that's a different set of skills that I don't have. And when I had the discussion with my partner, Rupert, it made sense actually that we would do something together because it was important for Veloce to have something also in the real world of sports. And what better championship than Extreme E? So it came pretty naturally to form the team together.
Our ambition is always to have real-life racing teams and real-life sporting assets. We are a sports and media organisation. Felt like a perfect fit, Extreme E, for us. You know, from the beginning, everything the series stands for, we stand for as an organisation. Quality in sport, men and women together, equal amount of running, equally as important to the end result in the race, which was great. It made a lot of sense to come on board.
So Veloce Racing operates and was built really a little bit unconventionally from a racing team perspective. We were and still are an esports and gaming business. So to build out our racing side, we had to really invest in that expertise, and having Kevin and Molly, we've really sort of slowly taken steps to move in the right direction to help us really spearhead our charge.
Veloce is a fantastic company, and it's so different to any other motorsport team that I worked with in the past. This company has really pioneered in motorsport. Coming from the esport background, I think you can get a lot of knowledge on how to manage a race team and what you need to do to perform, because the esport world is so competitive, and there's anyone can do it. After the pandemic, it's grown so much. One of the best simulators we got in Europe. Obviously, it's here at Veloce, so let's have a go. As you can see, incredible views and a great racing car set for us.
We're very much looking forward to season 3 of Extreme E. We're going to continue to evolve, we're going to continue to disrupt, and I think that'll be more evident than ever.
We want to be that future-facing sports and media entertainment organisation. We want to be influenced by our fans and integrate the community into all and everything that we do and give them as much control as we can. And I think no other sports or media organisation in the world has that ambition. We're certainly not done yet. We are really at the beginning, and we've got a long way to go.
During Season 2, Extreme E launched a new programme called Racing for All. The initiative creates opportunities for a new generation of mechanical and engineering talent to join the electric series and learn what it takes to be part of a professional race team.
Racing for All actually enables our teams to all have an additional member. It's about promoting a real action-based opportunity to get more diversity into our paddock. Being an initiative that was led by Lewis Hamilton, the X44 team have been the first to really take on this opportunity, and they've come across an amazing candidate.
My love of motorsport has been forever, ever since I was a little kid. It was my passion in the family. It wasn't like my dad or my mum loved it. I was just drawn towards how the cars look, the sound. Lewis has always been quite an idol. I remember the 2008 World Championship. I think I was 4, and we were jumping on the bed when he won. It was like 12 o'clock at night and waking everyone up. In terms of hearing about Racing for All, my dad actually signed me up for it. Without telling me, I was at university. I'd applied for other teams in other industries in motorsport and just not heard anything, so actually hear something for the first time was really cool. My role on the team is as a junior mechanic. Essentially, it's just to take in everything, learn from the chief mechanics, giving them assistance, as well as learning physical skills. Being at uni and college and learning all the theoretical stuff about how cars work it's way different than actually being there and working on the cars. My first experience, which was in Wales, it was just really awesome seeing the actual car run for the first time, and then meeting all the drivers, like seeing them on the TV for all those years, and then actually like coming up to you and shaking your hand was really cool. This job has actually allowed me to leave the UK for the first time. My first flight was a 14-hour flight to Chile, halfway across the world. getting there was really awesome to see, like completely different landscape like never seen before. Being at the race was really awesome because now you're actually a part of it. It was hardcore, but as the week progressed, it got better and better, and then us finally winning topped it off. It was really awesome.
Jacob's been a great asset to the team. It's meant so much having an extra pair of hands. He's settled right in with the mechanics, and it was such a great experience for us personally to give him some of the soft skills that you need within motorsport. You can see that he really appreciates it, and we really appreciate having him with us too.
Racing for All has accomplished my dream, and it can give other people the chance who might not be able to get into this sport so easily. If motorsport is your passion, I think this is the #1 place to go.
With its initial great success, Veloce Racing are the latest team to sign up to the initiative for Season 3, bringing on engineering student and former Extreme E student ambassador, Amanda Kangai.
I'm super pumped to start with Veloce. Of course, them giving me an opportunity as a junior engineer to follow engineers and have that work experience, that's going to be an invaluable experience.
As a sport, we have to do more to integrate, you know. I mean, it's just the access and how you become involved. It shouldn't be that you have to just know someone, you know. If you're talented and you have ability, you should be able to find opportunities. So hopefully something like Racing for All can lead by example and eventually drive change.
With another season of racing, Extreme E's brand partners Continental Tyres are working to develop the tyres to become even more effective ahead of Season 3. Over in the city of Hanover in Germany, a recently constructed basketball court stands out from the rest. The court has been built from a most unexpected material: the Continental Tyres from Extreme E Season 1.
We're here today in Hanover, where we are doing the opening for the basketball court that's been built from recycled tires from Extreme E Season 1. So when I was told that they were going to use the tires for Second Life and build a basketball court, I thought it was an amazing idea, and I really wanted to be part of the opening. Extreme E is all about highlighting climate change, what we can do. So, currently maybe I'm actually watching and sitting on my, race tires from UK or from Sardinia, and it feels really amazing.
These particular tyres here have been to Senegal, to Greenland, to the deserts of Saudi Arabia, and now they're here getting a second life in Hanover.
So with 200 tires, we created 400 square meters of rubber bricks. So all tires were shredded and separated into their different materials. So the rubber part itself was eco-friendly, converted into those rubber bricks.
I think looking into traditional motorsport, you would never think that you would take tires, reuse them, recycle and build a basketball court. And I think that is what, the cooperation, what Extreme E with Continental, what it's all about, showcasing what we can do, giving back to the community. I mean, kids will come along, play on this basketball court. It feels really cool to see it live and being here.
To create the court, Continental teamed up with Basketball, a Germany-wide initiative that aims to use sport to break through social barriers.
I think it's really cool too that the basketball court is really close to my school and also to my home, so that we could come after school, come here and play.
I think it's really cool. It's a great idea, and the tiles are obviously great. It was a lot of fun.
So for Extreme E, whenever we go to a race, we look at community-driven impact, and it's fantastic to see Continental doing that. So their main HQs are based here in Hanover, so they've taken that ethos and taken it away from just the race courses to take it home with them. And it's fantastic to see partners taking that community-focused spirit and ingraining it into their business.
Personally, it feels really important because I've been part of the project with Continental for Extreme E from the very beginning. I remember when I got the call if I wanted to be on board, and the whole thing just sounded like a crazy idea. If someone tells you that you're going to race all around the world, electric, it's going to be highlighting climate change, it's going to be environmental friendly, it sounds crazy. But here we are, making 2 seasons, and now also really showcasing what we are doing for the environment, using the tires, building this court. For me, it's really a state of showing what can be done and what Continental and Extreme E is doing. It's a really cool experience and very special to me.
As the new season of Extreme E approaches, one of the youngest drivers to be announced in the championship is eager to grasp the opportunity with both hands.
I'm Clarence and I'm the Extreme E driver for Cupra XE. The first time I was in a race car-ish was a little go-kart when I was 7. That's my first memory of racing. My parents have been racing in rallycross when they were younger, so they wanted to introduce me and my older sister to the sport. So we got a little go-kart, and what I can remember is that I just loved the feeling of speed. That's when the story began. I had this immediate just love for the sport overall. I love all motorsports. I follow everything in every series, biggest fan basically, and I just feel at home behind the steering wheel no matter where it is or in what it is. So yeah, that is truly my biggest passion in life. When I grew up in motorsport, it was my family that was my safety system, my support. Me and my dad, we built our cars and everything that I raced in, and we were a family team. My oldest sister was 3 years older, and she, I've always looked up to her. She was always in the class higher in school, in the higher class when we were racing, so I wanted to be like her. She's my best friend, and we support each other so much. And I don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for her and my family. They are so happy and so proud, which also makes me really happy. The first memory of winning a championship was when I was 10. Back in go-karts, I won the South and West Swedish Championships. Then I think the most important win was the Swedish Championship that I won in 2021. That was a career-changing moment for me. Not only that I got to drive the Spa-Francorchamps round in RX3 in international rallycross, but also got invited to the rookie test by Acciona Science and got introduced to Extreme E for the first time. Then the biggest win of my career ever is Uruguay, where I crossed the finish line. It's just, I will remember that day forever.
Amazing job, Clara.
Signing for Cupra for season 3 the whole season was just amazing. It's something that I've always dreamed about doing, being a professional driver, and especially with that team. They're just an amazing team, like so professional. I feel at home, so lovely people. Having Nasser as my teammate is just unreal. Like, he is a legend in this sport, especially in off-roading. And the first time I met him in Chile, I was a bit shy, but he's so lovely. He's such an amazing person, and he made me feel so comfortable and was hyping me up and pushing me and supporting me the whole weekend. And I think we also on track complement each other quite well with our experience. Mine is not so big, but I come from a lot of side-by-side racing, so yeah, I think we make a good team off and on the track. One thing that I really love about Extreme E is that it gives the platform for female drivers in motorsports. It's one of the few sports where men and women can compete on equal terms, which I think is great because you're always facing the best driver, no matter if it's a woman or man, young or old, So hopefully it opens more doors for women in motorsport. Obviously, I'm only 22 years old, so already have achieved those things is super amazing. But I still feel young and experienced sometimes, especially in Extreme E where you're facing like Jutta, Kleinschmidt, Seb Loeb, Carlos Sainz, Nasser, the guys that has been in this game for so long and achieved so much. So I'm still super excited to continue the momentum, and I want to do big things. And this is only the beginning, but it's a lovely beginning, that's for sure.
This season, Extreme E is adding 2 new exciting locations to its roster, one of which is Scotland in the UK. Ahead of the Season 3 inaugural race in Saudi Arabia, Extreme E and scientific committee member Professor Peter Wadhams paid a visit to the legacy spot of the Hydro X Prix.
So we're here on the banks of the Croik River, here in the Nith Valley. This is an area that is very important for salmon spawning. You can actually see right behind me the effects of erosion that is happening here because of increased rainfall in the winter months and also increased droughts and rising temperatures in the summer months. These are patterns that are increasing, and it's having a really lethal effect on salmon stocks, fisheries, and the river itself here and the banks. So we're here to learn and understand more about why it's happening and what we can do together to try and help mitigate those impacts.
Local experts Jim and Deborah from the Ninth District Salmon Fishery Board have spent years studying the significant challenges that this river is facing and the devastating loss of salmon population in the area.
We as humans should be very alarmed if our salmon numbers are dropping. They are an ideal monitoring species to tell us how good our environment is.
One of the biggest problems with fish in this area are the temperature, the water temperature, that if it rises above a certain limit, the salmon will all die. And that sort of principle applies to many other parts of the world, that as the climate changes and the ocean warms up, you find complete replacement of ecological systems.
To help counteract the issues facing these salmon, S03E's legacy project will see the planting of trees along the riverbank.
The trees stabilise the bank. The river finds it hard to erode out round about these trees because the roots are sunk into the bank. They create habitat that young fish can swim under the roots, and they cast shade on the river, which reduces the temperature, keeping it down to a tolerable level for salmonid fish. I'm hoping that working together with S03E that you're going to assist me in repairing this habitat scheme in here. We're going to be able to grade the bank and back and plant the riverside with a nice riparian habitat scheme.
So our legacy project is going to involve our drivers coming here. They're going to be getting their hands dirty, they're going to be planting trees. This will be done by linking in with the local community. We've got to plant over 1,200 trees here, so we're going to be reaching out to local schools, involving children who can actually come back and see these trees growing and see the impacts of the work they've been part of.
S03E's technology partner Vodafone is also going to be supporting this legacy project, helping track data on the river's water quality.
We could potentially talk about some remote temperature sensors dotted around the river. We could submerge an IoT sensing buoy for water quality, temperature and other chemical composition. We could even look at some other stuff like camera analytics to understand the movement of animals or people, for instance.
That would really work for me.
To mark the occasion ahead of the Hydro X Prix, S03E planted the first tree of what will eventually become a whole woodland.
We are very fortunate to have S03E coming to the River Nith catchment to be able to lay this project on and make this happen.
So we're talking about a long-term future, but the future has to start with a small action. To come here today, it was so fantastic to actually be part of the first action and to plant our first tree. And I think there's a sense of pride to be part of something that has such a long future ahead of it and to be there from the very start.
Well, Julia, that's our first tree. That's S03E tree. Well done, Julia. Well done.
It's time. The wait is over. A new exciting racing format, a couple of fresh team lineups, and a clean slate. The Desert X Prix is here.
I love going to the new locations. I think it's one of the coolest things about S03E. The fact that we're going back to Saudi and Neon, but actually we're seeing a different part of that and we're racing in a different location. It's a clean slate for everybody. Keep us all on our toes for the first race.
Sand is cool. It's a totally different discipline. I've never actually raced on a beach before, so I'm looking forward to Saudi.
Racing in Saudi the first season, the track was just so extreme. It was still extreme in season 2. But then I had more of the experience from season 1. And I think it's going to be maybe the same feeling now coming for season 3, especially with the new race format. It's going to be really exciting.
Last season we suffered quite a lot with the dust, a few accidents, but I think this season with the new location that we have on the beach, it's going to be the best season yet.
S03E races in truly remote locations that are some of the most vulnerable ecosystems on Earth to put a spotlight on the fight against climate change. The S03E Scientific Committee ensure that each race has an environmental purpose, and the theme for the race in Saudi Arabia is hydrogen and biodiversity.
Saudi is a very interesting race venue for us. It's a very well-resourced country, very aware of climate change, and through S03E we're seeing the sort of efforts that are going in to regenerate the environment and to push renewables.
Our behaviors do have a huge collective impact on climate change. We can really contribute to build resilience by decreasing our use of resources and therefore our footprint on the climate, and S03E are now delivering that.
In the end, it's not very big changes we have to do in our daily life to actually improve the planet. I think that's important to try and spread that word, and I think S03E is a great platform of doing that.
Bye.